You know, Abraham Heschel had a wonderful thing in one of his writings in which he said, all it takes is one person to stand up, and then another, and then another, and then another, until you have a movement. And once you have the movement, and once it succeeds, then you'll discover that it can be a real work of art.
We know that there are people, and some in positions of power today, who would like to eliminate that right. But it's up to the American people to ensure that that doesn't happen. Because if the right to get an abortion is done away with, then women's freedom becomes a hollow promise.
I met a woman when I was 24, going to college, and I thought I was in love. She was 18. At the time, I was drinking, using drugs. She wanted to wait until we got married to have sex, and at that time in my life, I was way too self-centered, and I kept pushing her until she did have sex with me. When I found out she was pregnant, my first thought was I wanted to get married. I mean, I was convinced I was in love with her. She didn't want to get married. She had dreams of being an actress, and she told me she didn't want to have the child. She wanted an abortion.
To me, I think that it's kind of a sad commentary. I've had girlfriends who have aborted babies. Actually, my best girlfriend, my best friend, when we were 11, we went down to Planned Parenthood. And at 11 years old, we didn't have to tell a parent, we didn't have to tell a family member. We just sat there, and 2 hours later, the baby was gone.
When they invited us into the room where the abortion was performed, everybody was pretty cold. I mean, I felt invisible. My girlfriend started crying at the time. They just told her to take off her clothes, put on that gown, get up on the table. And there was a female doctor who came in, and she asked, just kept saying the woman's name, do you want an abortion, do you want an abortion? And when she was crying, she said yes, but as soon as they started like touching her, they started to dilate her. They were very rough, and I could tell they were hurting her, and she started crying, begging them to stop, but they just said, it'll be over soon. And I was holding her hand. She was crushing it. You know, she was holding my hand so tight, she was crushing it. And I just stood there watching, and when the thing that just turned my stomach was they had the tube, you know, the vacuum aspirator, and when they stuck it inside of her, I can still hear the sounds, I can still smell the office. It was just making these horrible sucking sounds, and she was crying, and I saw her face like a look of panic and rage. And when it was over in a few minutes, you know, the doctor just got out, walked out. The nurses started to clean up the mess, told her, go ahead, get dressed, you can go out now. And the thing that I couldn't help staring at was the glass jar at the end of that vacuum aspirator tube. It was just filled with blood, and I knew that was my child. And one of the nurses walked her outside into like some kind of recovery area, and I didn't know what else to do. I just stood in there for a couple of minutes looking at that glass tube, and I knew it. You know, no matter what my friends told me, and one friend even paid for it, you know, this is a great thing, you're doing the right thing, there'll be chances to have other children, and blah, blah, blah. No matter what anybody said, I knew right then and there that we had just done something very, very wrong.